What is up, my frosty brethren? My name is Arctic, and today I'm bringing you guys some of my weekly Gears of War videos. This is some discussion revolving the new upcoming Gears of War 4 and bots. Have not talked about bots a whole lot. This is old Gears of War 3 gameplay. I keep getting people that are asking about it, I guess, that have missed the previous times that I've said this is very old. I don't own an Xbox 360 anymore. I don't own a copy of any Gears of War title. So just so everyone knows, this is old. It's from the Amazing MLG channel. Most of you guys have probably not seen this gameplay. So with that being said, let's get back on these bots. So the bots, this is not really a topic I've really discussed in any of my running ranked videos. I maybe have probably addressed it a couple times, like on streams and maybe here and there talking with actual, players that I know. But, the bots are an interesting dilemma, right? I think there's a growing sense of, and it might not necessarily be a large group, but I think there's a growing sense of the bots for certain players that they are detrimental to the multiplayer experience, either by doing things like grabbing power weapons, going out and giving out free kills, whatever the case may be, feeding another team, just messing up your general flow gameplay, being in the way when you want to take cover. I've had that happen before. Just little oddball things here and there that the bots kind of do that can throw off gameplay and ultimately make your team lose. Now, I think any sensible person can obviously make sense of why bots are in the game, right? Someone quits, you need someone to fill so the teams are not uneven, and bots kind of serve as that filler. A quick match, I don't think it necessarily matters, but we don't know necessarily the structure of how playlists are going to be, whether they're quick match or ranked, or if it's all one ranked playlist. Who knows how the structure of it is going to be? But traditionally speaking, quick match is where bots don't really matter because people quit in and out of there all the time. Ranked is where obviously bots could be an issue. So for ranked gameplay, and even in quick match, I think there's certainly things that can be done to improve bots. Obviously giving priority if someone is in proximity on your team, letting them grab the power weapons. There was the ability for them to be swapped out. You could go up to your bot and then try to do a swap exchange, so you grab the power weapon if they happen to get it. But more often than not, they typically died with it or did something stupid and then gave it to the other team. So that was obviously definitely a point of contention for a lot of people. But generally speaking, I think it was more of the kill feeding, specifically in game modes like execution or team deathmatch or whatever, that put your team down and then you were kind of SOL. Now execution, to be honest, doesn't really matter all that much, because if you didn't have a teammate there, it would still be lopsided in that event. But where it would matter is if they grabbed a power weapon, and that's, I think, where execution players typically would get upset. Now previously there was no bots in multiplayer, and you still had this growing concern about, hey, it really sucks when I don't get a teammate that fills in for the spot that went vacant because we had a rage quitter on our team or because my teammate disconnected. That sucks. And I remember tons and tons of people complaining about that on the forums, just in general. So obviously the solution is, hey, fill in bots, and then you get the same type of thing. I saw this on the development team of Loadout as well. Lots and lots of people complaining because we didn't have bots that filled empty spots. And then when we put in bots, they were like, oh, the AI is not good enough because I'm a human being. And this is obviously some underdeveloped AI, and they're not really presenting a challenge. Now, the only things you can really do are like bump up the aim and give them more health. That's pretty much all you can do to make the bots more challenging. They're not going to do any crazy AI behavior. They're not going to mimic a human being. But I feel like obviously there's probably going to continue to be progress on AI in general, but for the next however many years, I don't think it's going to be comparable to what I think we would want. So that leaves us with possible solutions. What can Black Tusk, or any studio for that matter, do to alleviate bots? Now, I don't have a whole lot of solutions for this myself, because I feel like if you take them out, you get back to the problem that was on like Gears 2, Gears 1, where people were complaining that they don't have any teammates and it's unfair and uneven. And obviously the AI isn't intelligent enough to stack up against some of the better players that are probably being very vocal about this in general. So you're kind of stuck between a hard place, right? Like it's really difficult to make a decision on this. I kind of been racking my brain about some possible solutions, and one of the ones that I think would be interesting, I don't necessarily know if this is the best solution, but it's definitely one that it was like, I haven't really seen this, is once the player quits, let's say it's during a round, he dies, rage quits, you guys play out the rest of the round. During that following round, instead of it actually counting towards the score, it ends up being an intermission round, right? Or an intermission period, and then they fill that spot in. So basically the following round doesn't count, and you guys can play it out. Now, what is a little troubling about this scenario is, typically speaking, if you're in a game mode like King of the Hill, there is no intermediate rounds unless they do it a little bit different. So you'd have to play that out. And this really only works for like execution in Warzone, where there's a pause between each round and then someone can pop in. Team Deathmatch obviously doesn't work. So it's really finite in where we're kind of going with that specific solution. But I feel like if there's like an intermission period, then maybe the kills don't count. People aren't necessarily mad. They're still kind of warming up their shot. But at the same time, if you guys know side advantage is a real thing, then maybe if you flip sides when you actually get a person in, that might not feel fair, especially if it's a close match. So I don't necessarily know if that's the best solution, but that is one that I thought about that's like, I don't know too many people that are doing that. That seems like a pretty reasonable idea, but it obviously has a lot of holes if you start poking at it. The other thing I thought about was the idea of adding a surrender option. And you see this in games like League or Dota, or there's even some other shooters. I think Loadout, we actually implemented it as well. You're uneven, you're getting smashed, but instead of taking the quit penalty, you can just surrender and count out as a loss. Now, I don't know how many people actually would do this. I feel like you would have to be getting rolled pretty hard. And then there's the other team. I think it's also frustrating because you lose that challenge. I know it was for me anyway. You lose that challenge and you keep playing these guys or girls and they won't surrender. They just keep playing, or they won't quit out. They just keep playing. And so that was always frustrating to me, and I know it's equally frustrating if you've played any of those MOBAs when the other team doesn't quit out and they're getting destroyed and just prolonging the match. It's super annoying, right? That is super, super annoying. So, a surrender option is definitely a possibility, but ultimately, I think any solution for this is pretty much not foolproof. I mean, they all have some holes in it. They all have different issues that I think bring up different problems for different people. So regardless of what can be done, unless we see drastic AI improvement over the next 2-3 years, then I don't know if anything is going to satiate people's thirst for getting bots either removed or improved in this scenario. So very interested to hear what you guys think about bots for Gears of War 4. What should be done about it? Should they fill in? Should there be some other solution that some designers think of that hasn't been thought of before? What do you guys have that could possibly add to this discussion? Very interested to know. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. I have lots more on the way. Until the next time, I will catch you all later. Stay frosty. So you missed my previous Gears video, huh? Well, luckily for you, it's right there. Just click right there. Come on. What are you waiting on? Just click. Click it. It's right there for you. Come on. This is unnecessary.